call over to our ITBO leader and host, Barry Borthistle, co-founder of TRIVITA and presidential director. So with that, Barry, welcome to the call. Take it over, and we know you have a lot of exciting and valuable information to share to us tonight.
Well, thanks, Garth. Garth asked me about a week ago if I would do a webinar. I hadn't done one for a while, and he said to me, Dad, what's the one secret to success? And those of you that know me know that I've been in the industry about 37 years, no, 37 years, about 50% of the time on as a CEO or president, the other time building my own business. So got a lot of experience, but looking at what's ahead of us, I'm no question more excited about what we've got with TRIVITA. And tonight I want to talk about something different. That Garth has said this is a little bit different, but we're going to make our webinars different from time to time. And tonight we want to talk about relationships because we have a new system in TRIVITA now, as most of you know. And I saw this joke the other day, and I thought it was really good. A wife wanted to know what her husband thought of her. So she said, honey, how would you describe me? And he said, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. And she said, well, what does that mean? And he said, well, A stands for adorable, B stands for beautiful, C stands for cute, D stands for delightful, E stands for elegant, F stands for fashionable, G stands for gorgeous, and H stands for honey. So she said, well, that's wonderful, honey. What does I-J-K mean? And he said, I was just kidding. Now, obviously, that's no way to build a relationship, that's for sure. And we want to talk about that tonight. So we're going to talk about relationships. And, you know, we're in a time of change. But change is a part of life, folks. Let's face it. I mean, you know, even for a guy my age, you know, it's a little bit embarrassing for me when my 11-year-old granddaughter comes over the house and she explains to me the new things on my cell phone that I had known nothing about. So we have to be open to change. And I said to someone today, the only people that like changes are babies. But TRIVITA is going through a change, and the change has been caused by direct sale industry changes in the industry, and if we don't adhere to them, you don't stay in business. So it is a new era, but I am probably as excited now as I've ever been, and I want to just briefly say why I'm excited with what we've got now. We're not all there yet. It's going to take 2 or 3 months to get all this working, but when you consider this, that we have superior products, we have the new My Health product coming. Michael told me today the infomercial is done. It's going to start viewing in May. It's got incredible potential. We've got the Vitality Planner. We've got a monthly catalog. Nobody mails a monthly catalog to anyone. My wife buys from Avon. They have to deliver it to the door. We have a great corporate staff that supports us. We have the Wellness Clinic, which is booming now with Mayo Clinic medical doctors. The new TV exposure, particularly with Mayo Health coming. We have the ITBO customer lead program. We've got the coming ITBO lead pick program coming very, very shortly. We've got a new training webpage coming. Corporate is working on a new business webpage, and we have a new comp plan, which I know it's changing, and I know it's a little bit tough for some people, but we are right in the regulatory area, and that's really important. So on the next slide, I want to talk a little bit about wealth and services. If you could switch the thing there, Garth, wealth and services to the next slide. You there?
Yeah, it's coming to compute. There we go.
There we are. All right. Good business ideas must serve the real needs of others to be successful. The creation of wealth is not a mere selfish activity, but rather a unique opportunity to creatively serve others. Written by Lauren Cunningham. I happen to know this man personally, not real well. I met him. He's been to every country in the world. He said to me, Barry, I can get you into every country in the world, but I can't get you out of every country in the world. But that's a tremendous statement. And when you think about the opportunity we've got, I would say probably 99% in our marketplace of people are interested in health and interested in their health and interested in wealth. So we've got this opportunity as we're putting the new era together. On the next page, What is listening? And this is really what I want to talk about tonight, the importance of listening. And you may not think this is the #1 secret to success. I happen to think it is. And so I asked the question, what is listening? Well, listening is wanting to hear. I think that's why God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we would listen twice as much as we talk. Most of us don't do a very good job on that, but that is reality. I was talking not too long ago to Dr. Sheeler, our new Mayo Clinic doctor down at the clinic, and he said to me, Barry, I believe that we are on a cusp of a major health movement led by TRIVITA, and I certainly believe that. So what is listening? Well, King Solomon said this, give me the gift of a listening heart. Now, I want you to think about something here. In my Googles, they say that the gold that King Solomon, if he was alive today, would be worth about $2.2 trillion. Not billion, trillion. Now, if that's true, he's a lot of money, a lot more than anybody that we can imagine today. And it was really interesting that with all that money, what did Michael ask for? He asked for 2 things, King Solomon. Not Michael, King Solomon, sorry. He asked for wisdom. Then he said, give me the gift of a listening heart. Well, none of us will ever see 2.2 trillion, but we all have the gift of a listening heart. And I want to tell you, and this is a true story, and it's really, really very, very moving. That's a true story. It's called The Power of Listening. A friend of the office was going to a party where he would be meeting his wife's co-workers from her new job for the first time. He felt anxious as the time for the party grew near and wondered whether they would like him or whether they would not. He reversed various ideas on the way to the party. The man came up with a radically different approach, one which caused all his anxiety to melt completely away. Did you get that? And here's what it is. Find out what he decided to do, and it all turned out in this true story. He decided that instead of trying to impress anyone, he would spend the evening simply listening to them and summarizing what they had to say. At the party, he spent the evening listening carefully to everyone, responding with phrases like, I understand what you're saying. You obviously feel strongly about that. Let me see if I understand what you mean. He also avoided voicing his own opinion, even though sometimes it meant biting his tongue. To his amazement, he discovered that no one noticed or remarked on the fact that he was just listening. Each person he talked to during the evening seemed content to be listened to without interruption. On the way home, his wife, and he had not told her what he was going to do, told him that a number of people came up and said, you are married to a remarkable, wonderful husband. The word charismatic was used by one person to describe him. He wasn't charismatic. He didn't say anything. He just listened. So I thought that was a great story to illustrate the power of listening. On the next slide, wisdom is the reward you get for a lifetime of listening. Aristotle said that. I read this in my research. Listening is what is the best compliment for any person to give to another. It allows others to feel validated and accepted without judgment. Try this today. Forget about what you want. You know, and when I think of my life, I had an experience not too long ago where someone was really, really interested in what I was doing. And I was impressed. I mean, you know, and that's led to other things now. So there's a lot of wisdom in that statement for sure. So on the next slide, the #1 secret, I believe, in building your new ITBO TRIVITA business obviously is listening. At the end of my short presentation, I'm going to give you the name of a book that I really recommend that you order. You can get it on Amazon now for a couple of bucks. It's worth listening or worth ordering. It's called Listening for Success by Stephen Shapiro. Now, I knew Steve personally years ago in my former company. I believe he passed away at an early age, unfortunately. But this book is well worth getting and reading through and following his expertise. A couple of the quotes from seminars that he's done, one from AT&T, not a bad company. The best sales training I have ever had Another one from Richard Ellis, Bell South. Please don't teach this concept to the competition. Another one from Bell South. We wanted them to be the best sales force in the industry. You helped us achieve that goal. So the concept, and I'll give you the name of the book at the end of this presentation so that you can order it. I really recommend you do it. On the next slide, I want to talk about something else just for a couple of minutes. So you want to be an entrepreneur. Well, being an entrepreneur, I believe, is being a good listener and not prejudging people. And I have just completed a 50-page, we've done it up very professionally, of 16 principles that I have learned over my 37 years as an entrepreneur, and it's called So You Want to Be an Entrepreneur, Equipping Entrepreneurs and Transforming Lives. And this will be presented in webinars and available to all of you in the very near future. But my point is in listening carefully and not prejudging. That is vital. Many of us, we hear somebody, oh, we prejudge them. They're not going to be interested or so forth, and we cut them off. Learn not to do that, and let me read a story to you. This is a true story. In the year 1883, a young man from America died while on a visit to Europe. His middle-aged, grieving parents returned with the body. They were heartbroken. They had loved their son very much. After the funeral, they began to discuss some kind of memorial to his memory. Not a tombstone or ordinary grave, but a living memorial to his memory, something that would help other young men like their son. After considering many alternatives, they decided that something in the field of education would be appropriate. It would be the kind of memorial that would go on year after year, helping educate young people. They arranged an appointment with Charles Eliot, who was then president of Harvard University. This is a true story. He received the quite ordinary, unpretentious couple in his office, asking what he could do for them. They told him about the death of their son and apologized for taking up his valuable time. They explained that they wanted to establish a memorial to his memory, something that would help other young men. Eliot looked at the proposing couple with some impatience and a certain suggestion of disdain. Perhaps you have in mind a scholarship, he said rather sarcastically. No, said the woman, her mild manner delaying the quickness and sharpness of her mind. We were thinking of something more substantial than that. Perhaps a new building or so. Whoops. I must explain to you, said Eliot, what seemed to be kind of a patronizing air, that what you suggest costs a great deal of money. Buildings are very expensive. Obviously, Eliot did not think from their appearance they were capable of that kind of donation. There was a pause, then the lady rose slowly and said, Mr. Eliot, what does this entire university cost? And he said, several $1 million. Oh, we can do better than that, said the lady. She got up, and her husband, she said, come, dear, let's go. The following year, President Eliot of Harvard University, listen to this now, that the plain, unpretentious couple had contributed $26 million for a memorial to their son to Stanford University. Just a great story of not prejudging and listening to people and hearing them out. So you want to be an entrepreneur. This will be released over our coming weeks ahead. It's 16 principles that I have learned being an entrepreneur, and I know you're going to enjoy them. So after you listen and ask questions and so forth, there's no business without a story. Storytelling is absolutely incredible. You're going to hear a story tonight. I've often said to Garth and others that it's stories of most success from the health perspective, whether it be No Paleo or the New Maya Health, whatever, plus business success and stories that are going to propel us. There's a book written called Tell to Win, and I want to just quote from it, from the Executive Vice President of Yahoo. Every business has a great story to tell. The businesses that realize their potential are the ones that figure out how to tell their stories well. Well, everyone from executives to entry-level employees, from partners to customers, and clients understand and embrace their role in a company's narrative, success isn't just possible, it is inevitable. So we have on the line tonight Sherry Hawkins from the great state of Maryland, who is going to share an experience she had with a customer from the lead pick system that so many of you are being involved in, and it involves listening. So Sherry, why don't you tell us your story with that one customer where you really listened?
Yes, thank you, Barry, for having me on the call tonight. I appreciate it. This lady, she's out of New York and just had such a pleasant attitude. And when I followed up with her, she said, I'm enjoying taking the B12 in the morning. I take it every day, first thing in the morning. And she said, it's giving me the extra boost that I need to get my butt going. And I was like, wow. So it's so important to really listen, because our customers and members, they're going to tell us everything we need to know. So it's just really important. Just take your time and listen to everything they have to say. And then as we continue with our conversation, I asked her, well, is this a product that you would be willing to buy? And she said, certainly. So I just went ahead and exchanged information, and she felt comfortable to exchange her cell phone number with me and text her the information. Since she's a technology person, she would rather order her product online as opposed to calling into the company. So that's another thing you want to listen for. Is the person a telephone person, or are they a online person?
You know, Sherry, I'm sure you would agree with this, that, as whether it be a follow-up to a co-op customer or whether it be a follow-up to a lead pick customer, you have to establish a relationship, because people today are so desperate for conversation. Would you agree with that? And when you take the time you do two things. All you do is you listen and ask questions. They're not really interested in your opinion unless you have an experience on the product, which is great to share. Other than that, all of their attention should be on them. Would you agree with that?
Yes, and I'm glad you mentioned that last part, because I do have a personal B12 testimony. So when she said, I'm really not crazy about not being able to chew or swallow the B12, I have to let it dissolve, and I explained to her why you allow the product to dissolve, and then I was able to slide in my own personal testimony. And so she was like, okay, well, it's not that bad,
Well, with the new regulations in our industry, folks, and what I stated at the beginning of this call, with everything that TRIVITA, as well, I wish I was 20 years younger, quite frankly, but I'm not. But I'm still very, very motivated about the opportunity. I really believe that when we get everything unveiled, when the new infomercial hits, when we get the lead pick ITBO program, when we get all our web pages, all our training pages, and that it's going to take a couple of months to get that done. The TRIVITA is going to lead the new concept in this business. I really believe that, because I'm not sure or aware really of any other company that has much to offer. But the whole bottom line gets down to our ability as ITBOs to listen to our customers, because the new rules of the industry are that about 50% of your business has to be customers. The old days of just signing up people, folks, are dead. It's legal. It ain't going to happen anymore. It's not very good English, but I just want to really emphasize my point. It is a complete new day in the industry. So the other thing I want to close with here is on the last slide, why have a dream? Well, Einstein said imagination is more than just knowledge. And I want to make you aware today, and most of you are, of the Dare to Dream Business Retreat in Hawaii. If you go into your back office, you'll see the Dare to Dream Business Retreat in Hawaii. And in my conversations with Michael, I've never seen Michael Ellison, and I know him probably as well as anybody in the field, having been co-founder of the company. He is really excited about where we are with everything that we are now doing. This probably could be the best thing that ever hit us. And so this dream is in in Hawaii, and urge you to register. And dreaming is so important. I mean, I'm still dreaming at my age of things I want to do, and some of them are very personal. I wish I could share them, but I can't. But I'm still dreaming, and this contest is, or this retreat is for dreamers. And you know, it doesn't matter about age. And let me close with one story here. And most of you know this story, but when I got it again, it's so important to understand, to hear. Once there was an older man who was broke, living in a tiny house and owned a beat-up car. He was living off a $99 Social Security check. At 65 years of age, he decided things had to change. So he thought about what he had to offer. His friends raved about his chicken recipe. He decided that this was the best shot at making a change at 65 now, okay? He left Kentucky and traveled to different states to try to sell his recipe. He told restaurant owners that he had a mouth-watering chicken recipe. He offered the recipe to them for free, just asking for a small percentage on the items. You know what? Nobody listened. Sounds like a good deal, right? Unfortunately, not to most of the restaurants. He heard no over 1,009 times he was told no. Did you get that? 1,009 times. So what's our problem? Even after all these rejections, he didn't give up. He had a dream. He believed the chicken recipe was something special. He got rejected, as I mentioned, 1,009 times before he heard his first yes. And we all know the story, of course, of the end result was that was the Kentucky Fried Chicken. So in closing, let me give you 6 things, and this isn't on the slide, but you can listen to it on the recording. Here is what listening does. If you really get into listening, and men find it harder to listen than wives. If you're married, your wife's going to say, you're right, because I find it harder to listen to than Ruth does. But here is what listening does. Number 1, listening shows respect. That's what Sherry did. She was showing respect for her customers. Number 2, listening builds relationships. That's what this is about. This business is about. Number 3, listening increases knowledge. I'm sure, Sherry, when you talk to someone, your knowledge about how to talk to people increases, does it not?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Number 4, listening generates ideas. I could go on with stories of my own personal life where I've listened to an idea and that generated an idea. I had one not too long ago in a church situation where someone gave me an idea, and I thought, you know, that's a good idea. If I hadn't listened, I wouldn't have done it. Number 5, listening builds loyalty. Once you show interest in people, they're going to be loyal to you. And number 6, listening is a great way to help others and yourself. So learn to ask her questions. Questions do 2 things. Questions do not offend people if they are asked in the right manner, and questions demand a response. So in closing, let me put on the screen before Garth closes our call, and I said we keep this to 30 minutes, and I've done it. This is the name of the book that I would suggest you go to Amazon. They've got some used copies for like 99 cents or something. This would be one of the best investments you ever make. Go to Amazon and click on Listening for Success by Steve Shapiro. There it is. Write it down. Get the book. Read it. Follow it. Teach it to others. And I know you're going to enjoy it and have some success. So there we go, Garth. With that, we'll turn it back to you, and you can close the call.
That was fabulous, Barry. And Sherry, thank you very much. I just love Sherry. So genuine in that. You just sort of feel that she cares abundantly for that. So thank you guys very much. I see that my last slide is coming along. There's a little slow computer today. But just to close the call, I just want to remind you of some very important events coming up. And there we go. Next Thursday, TRIVITA live stream with Michael Ellison. We'll be talking about myohealth and some other exciting announcements. So put that on your calendar. And then we'll be back in 2 weeks with this regular ITBO webinar at the same time of day on Thursday, May 4th. So with that, again, thank you for listening, and we'll get the recording out. Thank you, Barry. Thank you, Sherry. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.